Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Dropback NFL live stream brought to you by Brit Bullin. I am your host, Matt, and we are joined by Sam and Stan today. How's it going, guys?
Good, Matt. I've put the effort in to be here, unlike some people.
Yeah, and as you might have noticed, we are without regular Joe Costanzo because he's managed to lock himself out of his house. So
it raises the question as well: do we want Joe?
That is, I know the comments are clamoring for Joe Costanzo mainly because it's Joe Costanzo commenting. But yeah, I'd like to say I'm surprised. I'm completely not. But we may be having Joe on the show later. Who knows? We'll see what happens to him.
Yeah, if I was to put a bet on someone to lock themselves out of the house, I'd put one of us four. It would all be on Joe, 100%.
Definitely.
You can lock that in. Well, right, chaps, in the complete absence of NFL news, apart from Dan Campbell wearing a silly helmet and some dudes playing golf, we are going to dive into a bit of an exercise here, looking at the defenses across the league and putting together an all North, all South, all East, and all West defense. So essentially what we're going to do is each of us has taken one of those, North, South, East, West. We're going to look at the best possible defense you could make from, if we go North, the AFC North and the NFC North, we're going to put together and we're going to chat about them and compare them. So Joe has the North, so we're not going to start with him because he's not here. So let's start with Sam, looking at the AFC and NFC South. What are your thoughts on this one, Sam? What have you put together?
Well, first of all, I'm low-key livid at Joe for,
of course,
stealing the North away from me. I mean, we settled these divisions up quite nicely last time based on where we actually are geographically. So True. He has the absolute audacity to not only claim the North on an idea he presented, but then not turn up for it. So you know what? Not happy to start with. But if we're kicking it off with my D-line, I'm a lot more happy about that. So we're going with a 4-3 defense. So defensive line will get Cam Jordan from the Saints in at edge, along with Shaq Barrett, who has been pretty explosive with the Bucs in his 2 years there. So, I know he's not really a conventional D lineman, but I'm happy for him to go for a 2-point stance on the edge on D-line, especially when the interior, you've got arguably the best nose tackle in football in Vita Vea from the Bucs, who is one of the players, when he went down last year, missed a few games during the stretch, they really noticed their defense, difference there on the defense, especially in run stuffing. So he was the automatic pick, especially because how hard it is to find top-level nose tackles in the NFL nowadays.
Yeah, guys who can pass rush from the one tech position as well is really hard to find. And as you said, Vita Vea, he provides that. He provides he's a two-dimensional player in the fact he impacts very well in the run and versus the pass. So I don't have a problem at all with that pick.
Cheers, Stan. I was worried you would have a problem with that. The other D tack I have is, he is more of a pass rusher. He does his work in the run game as well, and that's DeForest Buckner out of Indianapolis. We've just seen that he's been pretty awesome throughout his career. Went to Indy, absolutely proved to be worth the first round pick they paid for him. The guys just missed out there with Grady Jarrett, who was sort of the only Falcons player I even considered when doing a show about the defense, because that Atlanta Falcons defense is
rubbish.
Hot trash.
So I don't know about hot trash. It's just cold, stinking trash.
Cold, stinking trash. Nice. How poetic.
I'm liking that front court. I like that Cam Jordan is able to hold up his end of the run, so I'm putting the nose tackle on his side because I fancy him to not need the help as much. So you got DeForest Buckner and Shaq Barrett working 3-tech edge on the other side. So I'm hoping that's a pretty lockdown defensive front. Have you guys got any squabbles with that?
Not any squabbles per se. I think that's a pretty strong group. I don't know whether it will end up being the strongest D line that we're going to see from the teams we put together today. But it's certainly a good start. Just out, by the way, mine's definitely not going to be. I'm going to put that expectation out there right now.
Yeah, at least you're being honest about it, eh?
Yeah, but my secondary is going to kill you. But yeah, anyway, that's a pretty potent D line, to be honest. I like it.
Dan, I'm expecting you to poke some flaws or something.
I was expecting Grady Jarrett to be in there, but I mean, you've gone for Vita Vea and DeForest Buckner, so on the interior, so I can't really complain at that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Vale was always going to be him because I think he's the only one of the three that'd be happy leaving at nose all game long. It was between Buckner and Jarrett as 3 techs. I think if I'd gone 3-4, I probably would have put them both in at ends. But as you'll see later, I've got so much depth at linebacker that I needed to have. I needed 3 like regular linebackers rather than pass rushers there.
Remind me who your pass rushers are again.
So it's Shaq Barrett.
Yep.
And Cam Jordan.
Fine. Yeah, no, that's you can't really argue with that, to be honest with you.
Was there any temptation to put Trey Hendrickson in there?
No, he wasn't. I mean, the other two that came. I mean, they didn't really come close. It would have been instead of Shaq Barrett, if I wanted more of a traditional edge, it would have been either Brian Burns or Josh Allen were the 2 that I also considered.
Yeah. I mean, if you're really like concerned about scheme, then perhaps Josh Allen would be a better fit as a 4-3 end, or Trey Hendrickson. But that's fine. You've got to have Shaq Barrett in the team somewhere, haven't you? You can't leave him out.
I mean, I think he's good enough for the pass rushers. I don't need him coming from depth. I mean, he basically played as a wide end throughout his time in Tampa anyway, so I don't have too much concern placing him there.
Yeah, I don't think it really matters as well with those edge defenders, as long as like at the end of the day they're rushing the pass at every single down. It doesn't matter what front you're in; they're going to be rushing the passer. So yeah, that's fine.
True that. Nice. Well. Love that start, Slew. Let's talk linebackers then, because I think this generally could be an absolutely outrageous starting 3 at linebacker.
It is outrageous. It's an outrageous group.
Are we not rotating around D-line? You want me to take through my defense first?
I mean, we can do entire defenses first, or we can do D-lines first. I just know because Joe's not here and he's going to throw a hissy fit if I don't let him talk about all the Ravens he's put on his team. So
I'm happy to rotate. Let's mix it up. Who's going? Let's go D-line with one of you guys. Then Joe can take it through at the end.
Stan, challenge that D-line.
Okay, so I've gone for a 3-4 base defense for the West. Do you want me to say just my 3 down linemen, or do you want the outside linebackers as well, or do I leave them?
I want your 3 down linemen, Stan.
We
want to wait on those linebackers. Keep us intrigued.
Yeah,
I genuinely think this might be one of the, if not the strongest position group on this team. And the strongest position group out of all of the super regional teams. So. As my defensive end / tackles, they're playing inside the tackles anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I've got Aaron Donald and JJ Watt.
Yeah, fair play.
Yeah, hard to argue with that.
Don't mind that at all.
And then at nose tackle is Chris Jones.
Chris Jones at nose?
Chris Jones, it doesn't matter. I can put Donald
at nose. To be fair, then. Yeah.
You could put any of them
JJ Watt at nose.
That's what I mean. Any of them can play schnoz. They're all sick.
I mean, I wouldn't put Watt at nose just because he's better on the outside, but it's going to be a fantastic unit because all 3 guys can rush the passer incredibly effectively, especially for interior guys. Jones and Donald absolutely excel at that. So
yeah, you essentially have to double team all 3 of them, which is
you can't do that. And then you got my
unless you're leaving your back in every single play.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
Then we've got the injury brothers who will be announced later on the edge as well. So it's going to be deadly.
Probably think of a better tag team duo name than that, but we'll let you think on that one. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with really. That front 3 is pretty tasty, to be honest.
No, I'm surprised I'm in a little way. I'm surprised there's no Poona Ford, just because he's a hilarious man to watch on the field, given how destructive he is. And you could have gone from the shortest 3 most destructive players, and it would have been really funny.
That would have been.
Yeah, but I can't. Who would I put Poona Ford in over?
I don't know.
He is
maybe an agent JJ Watt. Like what?
Yeah, he's a danger to himself and others, and he's fun to watch.
He is fun to watch, but at the end of the day, JJ Watt will be funner when he's on top of your QB. So
yeah,
interesting to not include JJ Watt in the injury brothers as well.
True. No, but these are the injury brothers because they're blood brothers too.
Okay.
Were those 3 pretty locked in for you, or was anyone anywhere near?
It wasn't really much of a competition, to be honest with you. There are some guys that have had underrated seasons, like Javon Kinlaw played really well for the Niners. There was another Niners defensive end who actually played really well last year in the absence of one of the injury brothers. I've completely forgotten his name, and I'll get it for you now, but he played really well on the 49ers last year. Was one of the top sackers in the NFL last year, if that's a title.
I'm trying to think who you're actually thinking of. Are you thinking of Eric Armstead?
No, I'm not thinking of Eric Armstead. He's now left the team, so he's not
No.
listed on the depth chart. So
Left the team. Solomon Thomas?
no, it's not. No, Solomon Thomas has been gone a while.
Has he? I thought he left last year as well.
No, he got traded before the season.
Okay, fair enough.
He got traded because they drafted Javon Kinlaw as well, and he was a bit of a bust, so they didn't bother keeping him around in that unit.
Yeah, it's fair play. It's fair. I mean, I'm guessing we're gonna. I mean, in that front three, I think Aaron Donald would absolutely murder the league. Could you imagine Aaron Donald with Watt and Jones beside him? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, he's
multiple-
dominant without even a whole lot.
That's what I mean.
else in
It's literally multiple fatalities on the
Yeah.
It
season.
would be a lot of fatalities. I agree with you there.
I mean, Joe's not here, but he's still asking questions away. That is Jones better on the outside? I assume he means like a 3-4 end rather than like a 4-3 end. But
Isn't Joe better outside since he's stuck?
Joe is outside
Not
and
in
he's
his
not doing
house.
as much good there.
He's been really ineffective.
He is very
Um,
effective.
I kind of get what you mean because Jones isn't really prototypical
Schnoz.
schnoz tackle, and he can be somewhat of a liability in the run game at times.
True.
Is that a little bit of an issue that would concern you, like a strong running team against that front?
Not really, to be honest with you. Especially when we look at the linebackers and guys on the outside that I've got there as well. Like, it'd be scary. The guy who I failed to remember his name is Kerry Hyder. He was on the 49ers last year. He's now on the Seattle Seahawks.
So you could have put him in still.
I could have put him in still, but again, I can't put him in. And just for clarity, I asked to come on, but Stan is a waste man. He asked to join on his phone, sat outside on his porch. So, for the sake of your ears, I said no.
I was going to say, listeners, you are welcome in advance for that decision to not allow Joe outside like a bit of a homeless bloke on his phone, wind crackling around him, trying to go through the Ravens front seven. So yeah, I mean, I do quite like both those fronts from you two. I'll go through mine. It's not impressive, to be honest, but that's not where this defense's strengths lie. But anyway, I mean, Chase Young. I'm playing a 4 across here, so I've got Chase Young and DeMarcus Lawrence at end. I was going to go with Emmanuel Ogba, and I was roundly shouted down by both Stan and Sam. So
Quite
very
right.
rude, very rude.
The
But
fact that you
outrageous.
even considering putting Ogba in over DeMarcus Lawrence was
Put some
almost
respect
insulting.
on
You're
Ogba's
such a
name.
homer. It's
No, you put some
embarrassing.
respect on DeMarcus Lawrence's name.
If I have to. So yeah, those are my ends, and then inside I have the Philadelphia Eagles duo of Fletcher Cox and Javon Hargrave. It was a close run thing between Hargrave and Lawrence Guy, but again, I put it to Sam and Stan, and they steered me in the direction of Javon Hargrave. Not as flashy in terms of the names on this line, but I think they'd be quite a decent group, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's quite a line
Quinnen
that
Williams?
seems set on getting pressure, and yeah, Quinnen Williams seems like.
Quinnen Williams is a big snub there.
Yeah,
But
Quinn Williams.
again, Quinnen Williams, he's more he plays a lot of 3-tech rather than nose again. So
He does.
He plays nose in 3 down fronts. He plays nose. He plays 3-tech as
No.
well.
No one's saying he can't play Schnoz, but I'm just saying it's difficult to get rid of Fletcher Cox from that
Fletcher Cox
position.
is a 3-tech.
Well, then Javon Hargrave. Either one of them, I think, are still probably. I'd probably still rather have either one of them over Quinn
No,
Williams.
I wouldn't.
I do
I'd
like
rather
Quinn
have
Williams.
I'd rather have Quinn. If you put either of them at 3-tech, I'd take Quinn Williams.
It's difficult to know how good Quinn Williams is because the Jets are so shit.
What, I promise you, he's very, very, very good football player.
I'll take your word for it, mate. But I'd love to see it on the field.
I mean, if you really
You
want to
can
talk
watch it on
nose
film.
tackle, if you want to talk nose tackle, maybe you talk the other Jets defensive tackle, that Sheldon Rankins.
Yeah,
The
Yeah,
Saints
that's
has
not
always
a bad
been pretty dominant at nose.
That's not a bad shout, to be fair. That isn't a
Yeah.
bad shout.
you could have gone for Leonard Williams as well.
Again, these are all sort of 3-tech kind of guys, not noses. This is my point
Yeah.
where I'm so excited to get. Is it Vita Vea or Vita Vea?
It's Vita
I
Vea.
thought it was Vita Vea, but I'm horrendous with names. So
It's Vita Vea. I'm
Vita Vea,
90%
alright.
sure.
Williams over
Correct,
Cox.
Joe.
Oh,
10
sit
points to
down, Joe.
Gryffindor.
Joe, shut up and sneak through the back garden. Just if you want to come and talk about selections, get on
Get
the
yourself
show.
on the show, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think even if you put Quinn Williams instead of one of those two, I don't think it massively changes the talent across the unit, if I'm honest.
No, they're all sort of similar kind of levels. I think Fletcher Cox, I mean, he wasn't as good last year, but again, that whole Eagles team was not great last year. Yeah, there we go.
Not fun.
Yeah, fair enough. So, yeah, I mean, I don't hate it, but again, you did preface it by saying it's not the strongest unit, and I think
I didn't lie.
No,
did not lie.
You better have some big guys on the back end to force people to.
You don't need to worry about the boys I've got in this secondary, mate, because there's no chance of any passes being completed. Simple as that, to be honest. No
danger. Just gone for the entire Miami Dolphins secondary, 100%.
I could have done that. I didn't. No, but yeah, we'll keep the secondary for the grand reveal at the end when I steal home and emerge with the best overall defense. But for now, Slew, do you want to take us through your line smackers that is going to absolutely rupture the whole exercise because they're going to be insanely good?
Yeah, so I mean, these linebackers, along with what I already thought was humbly think is the best defensive line put forward so far.
Wow. Okay.
Is going to shut down any run game that it comes across, which is beneficial because I don't think because my corners are going to need some help from the safety. So it'd be nice to let linebackers take the pressure off them a bit. But either way, we've got Darius Leonard, Devin White, and Lavonte David.
Godly, absolutely epic. Can't complain. Yeah. Let's move on.
Yeah, I mean, so Devin White absolutely does great pressure as a blitzer as well as being awesome against the run. You got Lavonte David and Darius Leonard who are just immense in coverage as well on top of their run stuffing ability. I mean, I wasn't too happy with being given the South when I first looked, but then I saw this linebacker core. I was like, you know what? I could do something with that. So, pretty pleased. I mean, Devin White would be the guy that I would take off in nickel packages. I'll let you know later on who's going on. But
that's quite impressive, considering a guy of his speed to be able to afford to ditch a guy like Devin White. That's
borderline slander.
I just think in nickel packages where you're looking to defend the pass first, I rate the other two guys higher in their coverage ability.
That's fine.
That's how I came to that decision.
So have you two clowns got a nickel package set and a base set now?
Yeah. Just in case. I mean, to be honest, I'd be happy to go against 3 wide receiver sets with those linebackers, but just in case I needed it, I've got it. I mean,
I've got enough spare time to do this sort of thing, Matt. So
fair play. Don't hate it.
The linebacker guys on my bench almost say how strong my linebacker core was when you got people like Miles Jack, Demario Davis, Joe Schobert, Deion Jones, not even getting a look in there. So, Deion Jones is another Falcon. Maybe they're not totally useless.
How about
that? Maybe they're not totally useless.
Yeah, I would have been happy with those first 3, Jack Schobert and Demario Davis as starting linebackers. So that none of them even made the pitch is making me pretty pleased.
Yeah, if you're having those guys on your bench, if one of your starters goes down, whack them straight in there. It's like they're not. It'd be like having an injury. It's not even an injury because you've got someone who's equally good coming in to fill the boots.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Lavonte David never makes all pros, but he makes this team.
He's brilliant. It's only because of his little his position conundrum that he's in.
Yeah, where he's listed as an outside linebacker in a 4-3, so he goes against pass rushers.
Yeah, and it's just unfair because obviously sacks are a bit of more of they hold more clout as a statistic. So he just loses out.
To be fair, fairly so, because that is more an decisive factor in winning a football game.
Yeah.
So you understand, but you're right. I mean, you said it a while ago that should be a different position for edge rusher, and then linebackers should go with linebackers.
Yeah, if you're a linebacker, you're a linebacker.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Pretty solid unit that Slew. Before we move on to Stan's linebackers, just a Joe update for you. He says he is in the back garden. He then said Masonette problems, and now he's chirped up saying Devin White should have been the Super Bowl MVP. Yeah. Not a terrible take, Joe. Get in the house.
I do like that we've got Joe updates, though. Joe Watt should be if we just don't tell him the times we're doing this and we just find out where he is, just scuttling around London.
Fun. Yeah. Like a little Dora the Explorer, but
we could have like a little mini series on our Instagram story. So before every live stream, we've got little Joe updates of him trying to get home in time for the stream.
You could have like a live like GPS of Joe's current location as he gets closer to his house for the live stream.
Can we have like a widget so that whenever Joe enters the house, it automatically goes live on StreamYard?
That's the cue. We'd never go live. But
We
yeah,
go
well,
live at like 10 p.m.
exactly. Well, I have no doubt we'll have another Joe update for you after we go through Stan's linebackers. But let's get to that first of all. Stan linebackers, are they anything to rival Sam's unit?
Yes, quite frankly, yes, they
Okay.
are. I think there's an outstanding amount of quality linebackers in the NFL at the moment because of the fact we're seeing big guys who can move, guys who could have potentially been other positions on the football field, playing linebacker now because of their speed, athleticism, and as well as strength and brawn. So I see Joe again in the chat. Here's another Joe update for you. He's complaining that we haven't said Matt or Stan's edge guys. Well, Joe, if you were listening at the start, you would have heard that I'm running a 3-4 package, so my edge rushers are included as linebackers. So you'll be hearing them shortly.
My edge guys were Chase
Keep up,
Young
Joe.
and DeMarcus Lawrence, by the way, Joe.
There you go.
Good luck getting into that Masonette.
So I'm going to start off my inside linebackers here. I have perhaps one of the best coverage linebackers in football in Fred Warner from the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, that's strong.
Bit of a nobody until recently. Suddenly emerged on the scene, popped off this season and last season. Now he's considered one of the better linebackers in the NFL. And I know PFF rate him very, very highly as the best coverage linebacker in football, pretty much. And then next to him in base packages is one of the best run-stopping linebackers in the whole of football. And he's held that reputation for a while. And the spotlight is on him more so now since Luke Kuechly retired. It is Bobby Wagner from the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
So those two interior guys are going to absolutely boss it for me. And I don't want to keep Wagner in on passing downs because I don't trust his speed as much. So subbing in as my dime backer would be Jamal Adams.
Man, that's harsh on Bobby Wagner, I think.
Just because Bobby Wagner's getting on a bit, I don't want to put too much pressure on those old joints of his. So I'll take him out. He'll get 2/3 of snaps probably, and I'll leave Jamal Adams in there.
And he'll be happy with that.
And if I need a slot corner, I can go through the Bryce Callahan or Ronald Darby. So
that makes me feel a bit sick, but good on you. I do like the combination of Warner and Wagner, though. You've got the very good pass coverage skills, and you've got the very good run schmacking skills. So I think that's quite potent.
Yeah, no, I was quite happy with the two as well. To be honest with you, like they're both very, very highly ranked players, very highly rated, and they complement each other quite well, I think. And so we all get to move to my outside guys now.
Please
be more excited.
Here you go, Joe. I have the Injury Brothers. That's right. It's Nick and Joey.
Love that. Nick and Joey Bosa. Very good when they're on the field. Often not there, though.
Often not there. So if Joey Bosa gets injured, which he probably will, I would bring in either Bradley Chubb, Von Miller, somebody like that. Hey, Chandler Jones, actually.
That's not bad.
Either Chandler Jones or Bradley Chubb to replace him. And then on the other side, we have the freakish Nick Bosa, who will probably go down as one of the better pass rushers in the history of the league if he can continue to stay on the field. Oof. But he's obviously had that niggling issue with his ACL, so
that's not a good thing to be niggling as well, is it? To be honest, ACLs.
No. Joe, I am worried about Joey. Yes, very much so. I'm worried about Joey.
Yeah, I was going to say, how close were you to not putting him in, seeing as though has he even played a full season where he hasn't been injured yet?
I don't know. See, the thing is, when I was doing this exercise, I wasn't aware that we were taking into consideration like injury history and stuff like that. Because if we're not considering age, should we consider injury? So that was my logic. But now that I know that we are considering injury, I would be tempted to drop Joey for Chandler Jones.
And the fact that you just remembered Chandler Jones existed.
No.
It does exist.
I love Chandler Jones, but it's just the Bosa brothers. I felt I don't want to be too much
inclined to include them both. Oh, we do have a Joe update though.
We do have a Joe update. Joe has entered the building, and if you want the chronological timestamp of events, at 7:52, Joe was considering the window, which I'm sure his neighbours.
So he may have actually taken the window. To be fair,
he might have taken the window. If you are in the South London area and you see a squat man trying to wriggle through a window, that is probably Joe. Don't panic. But he is now in the building.
Give him a little shove.
He is in the building, so Joe is imminent, like a missile strike, in about 3 minutes. So can't wait for that. But
Joe, if you are listening right now, please test your mic.
Please,
before you join. That's not actually a bad idea. Matt, who are your backers?
My backers. So I only really want to play with 2 linebackers because mine are a bit rubbish. I have got 3, but I sort of plan to be playing almost exclusively nickel the whole time because my secondary is great. So
cool.
my two starting linebackers would be Dante Hightower and CJ Mosley. Dante Hightower's been pretty solid, like one of the better linebackers in the league for quite some time now. CJ Mosley's been a little bit up and down, but fresh start with the Jets, and I think he's someone that we've always seen that he's got that sort of boom or bust potential. If he plays to his potential, I think he would be a fantastic player. My first reserve is probably Carl Van Noy.
Is that maybe he left the Dolphins and went back to the Patriots that he's not?
Yeah, so he's going to be good again because he's in the Patriots system. Or there was a shout for Tremaine Edmonds or Matt Milano. Edmonds.
Matt Milano's a great player.
Matt Milano's a very strong player. I think I would like Matt Milano over Edmonds just because Edmonds' back end of the season was a bit shaky, especially in the playoffs. So yeah, maybe it does end up being Matt Milano as that first reserve instead of Van Noy. Not completely sold on either of them on who would take that position, to be honest. But yeah, Hightower and Mosley are my starters.
Very much thudders, really, aren't they? Like run stuffers. So I mean, that does sort of, I suppose, complement what your defensive line was.
And if you're running a nickel package as well, it's good to have 2 run-stopping linebackers that the rest of the guys can focus on their pass coverage responsibilities a little bit more.
Which of those do you want matching up with tight ends, though?
Neither.
Using a safety?
Probably a safety, yeah, to be honest. I very much see it as that front 6 go and stop the run and get some pass rush, leave the coverage to the blokes in the back end that actually know what they're doing. That's my defensive scheme. Probably wouldn't work, but
that's why you're here and not defensive coordinating in the NFL.
That is true. That's why I'm in my
Mosley. Are you a bit worried the fact that he hasn't played in 2 seasons?
Fantastically,
he was out for a year on his first year. He joined the Jets and then opted out last year from COVID.
Yes, I am concerned by that. I think it might be a blessing in disguise that he didn't play last year as well because he didn't have the life sucked out of him by being part of an Adam Gase team. And he gets that sort of fresh start with the Jets, who have made some nice moves this offseason. So actually look in a position to be stronger than they've certainly been in the last 5 or 6 years. So I think that does help Mosley out. It's just about consistency, I think, for Mosley, to be honest. We've seen flashes of good instincts and good play, but he gets lost in coverage sometimes. And I'm not asking him to cover a lot, so hopefully that shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, if he can play consistently to a good standard, then I think those 2 linebackers are fine, to be honest, for what I need them to do.
I mean, to be fair, we're halfway through your team, which is quite a dream team, and you've described both those units as fine, which doesn't.
I think he's very amped up about his secondary. He's very amped up about his secondary. Right,
it's going to have to be unbelievable because they're going to run for about 400 yards.
Yeah,
my
I've built this team from the back forwards, and there he is.
He hasn't shut his window. He hasn't shut that curtain.
Those of you that are watching on the live stream, he's here. Announced Joe Costanzo. He's arrived.
What a journey! Sorry, I cut you off there. Please continue.
That's all right, mate. We're glad to have you here. Talk us through it, Joe. What was your trip into the house like?
It wasn't through the window this time. I was heavily considering it, but I'm not going to lie. I weigh a little bit, so it may have ended badly for me. Yeah, I did test my mic. I'm hoping it works.
It sounds good. Yeah, sounds good, mate.
Nice.
I have a question for you, Joe. How can your players trust you as a coordinator or general manager if you don't have the forethought to bring keys? How can they trust your planning system?
I'll tell you what. Like, I left the house today, and I was like, you know what? I can't find my fucking keys. I know someone's going to be in. It's fine. They're always in, and then they weren't.
That's how it goes, mate.
It is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Sorry, continue. I interrupted you there with my grand.
So we're just going through our linebacking corps, which had varying degrees of talent and ability. I mean, we probably need to go through your front seven completely, Joey. So if you're ready, mate, and you want to take it away, you can take us through your D line and your linebackers if you want.
All right, sounds good. So I had a few big decisions to make because there's actually a surprising, well, not even surprising.
Window or door? Yeah, we know. Carry on.
No, more of a lock, to be honest. That was the surprise. So yeah, let's go defensive line first. I was torn between being a complete homer and picking mostly Ravens players, but then I thought for a minute, and let's be a reasonable person. The combination of Stephen Tuitt and Cam Hayward last year were amazing.
Yeah,
I know Cam Hayward, or was it Stephen Tuitt? One of them got injured, but up until that point, they were having a phenomenal season. Especially Stephen Tuitt, I think, got 11 sacks on the year from the inside defensive end position. So
impressive.
It was 11 exactly.
It was. So what I would probably do is at left defensive end play Stephen Tuitt, and then at nose Cam Hayward.
Nice.
Congratulations, Joe. You're the only other person to have picked a nose tackle in this exercise. I'm proud of you.
Exactly. Thanks very much. I am going to be a bit of a homer though, and say right defensive end. I'd have Brandon Williams. He's been a complete stable for us in the run game.
Okay.
Immovable object. When he's not there, we definitely notice it, and he doesn't get enough praise as it is. But he's an absolute monster at inside defensive end, and he deserves to be on the team. Obviously, that means Calais Campbell did not make the cut.
Wow.
Which is sad. But I mean, Calais Campbell at his current sort of performance, he's getting up there in years, and yeah, he's a very exciting prospect, and he's still an impact player for sure. But I think, given Stephen Tuitt and Hayward, I just couldn't see him really getting into the lineup. Any thoughts on that?
I am surprised that Calais Campbell doesn't make the cut for you, Joe. I think we all thought he'd be a bit of a lock in a Joe Costanzo team.
I'm not you. I'm not going to pick freaking Keem Grant at corner or something.
You'd do a job.
Grant at corner.
You'd do a job.
No, I mean, I don't have an issue with that. I imagine if Hayward had been the one to drop out, you would have shifted Brandon Williams over to nose, would you not?
Yeah, I would have put Williams at nose and Calais Campbell at end, most likely.
It's good. It's a good run stuffing defensive line. I'm guessing you've got some sacky boys on the outside.
Yeah, and you can't let go of Stephen Tuitt was actually very capable in the pass rushing game as well. Last season, and I imagine that's going to continue into seasons to come. On the outside, this is another really difficult one. So my outside linebackers, I'm running a 3-4. I'm going to go left outside linebacker first. It's Myles Garrett. Obviously, a complete monster in the run and the pass rush. He's phenomenal, and he's only going to get better. Really, just signed a massive contract extension that he completely deserved. Had that one iffy moment with the helmet, but other than that, it's all good. And all I need to do is give him a sledgehammer, according to Slew. So that's also
context is super important there.
Yeah, I was talking about Hunger Games, not on the football field. Just
to premise, Joe, you can't give any of your players sledgehammers.
Hit me. What were you saying, Stan?
I would personally go for Khalil Mack over Garrett.
Wait, have I said my right outside linebacker yet?
No, because you have to go TJ Watt.
No, I go Khalil Mack at right outside linebacker.
So you're leaving out TJ Watt.
Yeah, it sucks.
Too many Steelers, it would have hurt him.
Yeah, that too. But in all honesty, when I look at it, it was basically between left outside linebacker is Myles Garrett's actual position, right outside line. I mean,
he plays in the 4-3 system as a defensive end.
He could easily play a 3-4. He's an edge rusher. He could play a 3-4 outside linebacker, and he has played 3-4 outside linebacker before they switched to 4-3 anyway.
Yeah.
So on the right side, I have gone with Khalil Mack over TJ Watt. I just think, generally speaking, throughout, Khalil Mack is one of the best defensive players of our generation, and the Bears kind of took a step back in recent years, but he's still absolutely dominant, getting doubled or triple teamed all the time. So you can't really leave him out. I do love TJ Watt as well, and it sucks that I haven't actually managed to get him in, but
he'll be pissed.
Yeah, It does suck, and I think TJ Watt also gives you the opportunity to drop back in coverage a bit more. But so does Khalil Mack as well. So
yeah, that was the thing, because I know I picked Myles Garrett in our draft last week when we were doing franchise building blocks. But I think if I was running a 3-4, I would probably go Watt over Garrett just because of what he gives to the position. But I mean, I suppose you can. You're right. When you've got Garrett, you're basically lining him up as just an edge anyway, aren't you, in this system?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And to be honest, I've got quite good defensive backs, and I've got a pretty decent nickel package as well. See, obviously 3 of us came prepared with nickel packages, and one of us is just kind of.
Joe, you didn't get in the house, mate. I don't think you're here to throw stones.
I didn't come prepared with keys, but my notes are sublime. Anyway, so other than the big TJ Watt, buster, does anyone wanna ball bust me a bit more on those? Anyone else?
I quite like that, Joe.
I think, Joe. I think you've done well.
I think you've gone with 2 absolute big boys at, on the outside backer, and I really like it, to be honest. I think that is very strong.
If I was the coach here, I'd definitely give Khalil Mack probably the defensive captain badge.
Yeah. I mean, you're almost running just like a 5-2, aren't you? Really?
Yeah,
kind of. In a way,
yeah. Scary, I suppose.
So I'm guessing you're going to have some pretty speedy inside linebackers, maybe.
Boy, do I! So at my Mike linebacker, I've got Eric Kendricks. Obviously, a speedy boy, a veteran of the game, amazing in coverage, and also just one of the best linebackers in the league, to be honest. Obviously doesn't really get the praise as much as I think he should for how well he plays.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I think part of that is just stuck on a terrible Vikings defense. So, but he is not part of that. He's a complete, outsider in that regard, and he's one of the best in his position. So I'd stick him at Mike, and then my will linebacker will be Devin Bush. You said it, Stan.
Yes, I love
speedy guy. He's a more of a sort of prototypical linebacker that we're coming to see in the league. A very fast guy, big thumper. I trust him in the run game. I think he's progressing in his pass coverage ability. But yeah, the main reason there is just an edge-to-edge guy who can track anyone down, basically.
He's a great flow player, yeah.
Anyone I've left out there potentially that people want to break my balls over?
Did you just think of 2? There was no one that you thought didn't even deserve a shout out?
They're in on the
to be honest,
Roquan Smith would be the only one that I would think.
I completely forgot about Smith there.
I wouldn't put Roquan. I wouldn't put him above Kendricks or Bush. Really, I think that combination is a lot better. And if you picked Roquan Smith above one of them, then you're missing out on either Bush's sort of sideline to sideline speed or Kendrick's coverage ability. I mean, Roquan Smith is very good, but
I'd put Smith over Kendricks because I think he's more versatile.
Oh, I would offer the opposite. I would go Bush. I think he's more in that speedy sort of role. He's really quick, Roquan Smith.
He is very good. Yeah,
I think if you take Kendricks out, you lose what Joe's defense needs with that coverage backer.
That's true. I mean, it's a toss-up, to be honest, but it's a bit like the TJ Watt decision. Like, I could either have Roquan Smith or Devin Bush, but I just favoured Bush with the lineup I've got so far.
Yeah, to be fair, Kendrick is an incredible coverage guy. So
it's picking between great options. So we've all got really good defensive fronts, except Matt, who is sort of not really happy about it.
I told you mine was fine.
Yeah, but you didn't pick Quinnen Williams, which
these
still doesn't make any sense.
These aren't fine teams; these are super teams.
Yeah, well, you just wait, mate. You just wait.
Matt, is there any Jets on your team? Just out of interest. Okay, cool.
We've already done CJ Mosley.
It's got to be Brian Poole.
He hasn't even played.
There's another big old Jet on the back end as well.
It's either Brian Poole or Marcus May, and I'm guessing Marcus May.
Brian Poole could be his nickel corner, but he doesn't think. No, he's got nickel corners. Doesn't need Brian Poole.
Brian Poole is a beautiful man.
He is, but he's got some absolute monsters.
He's sticking an outside corner at nickel.
You know what? While we're guessing at his guys, why don't we just let Matt do his corners?
You want my secondary?
Let's hear it.
Yeah, right. Well, as I said, we're going nickel package. Our outside
because your
corners,
linebackers are terrible.
you keep your comments to yourself. At outside corner, we've got the best intercepting corner in the league in Javen Howard.
At the top corner position.
Yeah, because he's the best at getting interceptions in the league.
Okay.
Sorry, is my mic on? He's the best.
Okay.
So yeah, Javen Howard at 1. You've got on the other side. I didn't know whether me and Stan were chatting about this earlier. I've got 2 fantastic options to go next to him, and one of them's going to end up playing as my nickel corner. So I've got Stephon Gilmore, who is only 2 years removed from Defensive Player of the Year honours. And I've got Tre'Davious White, who is one of the best corners in the league as well. They're both pretty sublime. Pick your poison, really. My instinct was to put Gilmore as the nickel corner just because he excels in man coverage so much. But I could also put Trey White there. Heck, I could do whatever the hell I want. They're both absolutely exceptional corners. You're just not going to be able to pass on it. Those 2, certainly. And if you throw it near Howard, he's probably going to pick it off. So,
yeah, I would go, if I was given those 3 guys, I would also lean towards Gilmore in the slot, just because he's one of the guys that we've seen move around and cover the slot more than the other 2. And Trey White does basically stay on that left side of the field, looking from a defensive perspective, right side from the offense. So, you've sort of got to stick him there because that's where he's played ever since he's entered the league. He doesn't travel basically at all, which isn't a slight on his ability, but why move him from somewhere where he works best? Yeah.
That's where you're going to get the best out of it.
The issue that I have with putting Gilmore in the slot over Javen Howard, for me, there are 2 reasons. As a man-on-man cornerback in terms of technique, I would back Stephon Gilmore more. If you're playing nickel, I assume you want to play a lot of man coverage.
Yeah, I could play man.
I would if you're playing like a man-based scheme primarily, then I would definitely put Gilmore over what would be your X receiver over Howard. Now, I do prefer Howard as a corner. I think he's a better player. But if we're playing pure man-on-man, and you want to leave him out on an island, I would put Gilmore there because of his experience, technique. He's a very, very talented corner. And in addition to that, Javen Howard is one of the more talented corners when it comes to the run game as well. And as a nickel guy, you're going to face a lot more runners in your face because you're closer to the line of scrimmage, you're closer to the ball. So by having Howard in the slot, you're going to allow him to play more instinctually as well, because he's not going to be out on an island where his sole attention is the X receiver, and you're going to allow him to be more in the action where he can allow his tackling ability to take center stage.
Yeah, that is a fair point. I mean, to be honest, I think you could pretty much shuffle those 3 into any order across the 2 outside corners and the nickel package. I think all 3 of them. Maybe Trey White would, as Slew said, be better sort of staying on the outside. But I mean, they're 3 of probably the top 6 or 7 corners in the league.
No, maybe. I 100% agree with you. And also, if you did want the best slot cornerback in football, you could have gone for Brian Poole. But I mean,
you can do what you want. Slot cornerback in football, but yeah, Brian Poole's a very good one. I like how you guys had basically a 40-minute argument, so-called pre-production meeting.
It was a pre-production meeting,
about the ordering of 3. As Matt says, the best corners in football. Like, no, I think it goes this way round. I think he's 2 and he's 3. It's like, no, it's the other way round. Like,
we just argued about who should be the slot corner. Like, at the end of the day, we're splitting hairs, but
I will say one thing is that we do tend to suffer a massive amount of recency bias, and I think sticking Xavier Howard as the number 1 corner may be a bit of that, to be honest. Like, if I came off the season where Marcus Peters had led the league in interceptions, and then I go in off and say, "Oh, he's the best corner in the league. He'll shut anyone down." That's not his role in a defense, and I don't think Xavier Howard's role is a lockdown corner. I think Stephon Gilmore and Trey White are much better lockdown corners than Xavier Howard. Xavier Howard, I'm not saying isn't a great corner. He obviously is. He's an all-pro corner, but as a pure man corner. In your system you're describing, I would see either Xavier Howard playing the number 2 corner position and Trey White sticking in nickel, or the other way around, and having Stephen Gilmore being the number 1 corner. Personally,
yeah, no, I do agree with you there, Joe. Purely because of Gilmore's track record against top receivers, and just because I think Howard's skill set suits the slot the best out of those corners available. I'm not saying he is a slot corner. I'm saying out of those corners available, he suits the slot best.
For sure. Did you not consider your other boy?
Byron Jones.
I've forgotten his name. Byron Jones. Yeah.
It's hard to put against one of those three, isn't it? Above one of those three.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I like.
If you're
Byron
looking
Jones.
at interceptions, yeah.
I mean, I also just looking at ability, like pure man-on-man ability. Byron Jones is a very, very good man-on-man corner. I do think
Better than Xavier Howard.
All right. He's not, but okay. He wasn't actually. I mean, he was a bit hit and miss last season, to be honest. That's why there's been a lot of rumors about the Dolphins potentially wanting to sort of restructure his contract, because we paid him a lot of money.
Pay him a lot, yeah.
Did pay him a lot of money, and he was good. I don't know if it was quite the level we expected, but another year in the system, we'll see what that brings. I did also toy with the idea of putting Byron Jones in at safety, but I think overall they were better. I don't like what I've seen from Byron Jones at safety, and there's a lot of talent at safety.
Didn't the Cowboys play him? Then? The Cowboys played Byron Jones at safety, and the
Cowboys played him at safety, and he wasn't that great. But
did you say Cowboys?
The Cowboys, yeah.
Cowboys.
Cowboy.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of safeties, you guys did call it earlier. I think Marcus May's got to be a lock because, I mean, probably
true breakout season last year.
True breakout season. I think
he's a gold.
The bright spark on that Jets team over the course of the year was Marcus May.
He catches interceptions with his bum, for God's sake.
He does, and tell you what, Joe, that was the moment I knew he was right for my team.
Yeah, you were like, sign this man.
This guy's catching balls with his booty. That sounded weird. I wasn't really sure who to put next to him, to be honest, because again, there's a few options. You could go Micah Hyde.
Wait, so what safety position would you have him playing for starters?
We could play either, I suppose, which means you can just put next best guy in and then move Marcus May to the other one.
Yeah.
So
I mean, what I was initially thinking was maybe Micah Hyde next to him. Big fan of Micah Hyde. I think he wasn't, we didn't see as many sort of big splash plays from him last season, but he was sneakily very consistent, and he's been a very solid player for a while. I mean, there's a lot of different options. You could even go Devin McCourty if you wanted. You could go Jordan Poyer. You could go
Landon Collins.
Yeah, exactly. Javon McKinley from the Giants was also pretty good at times down the season. I mean, there's a lot of options there. I think mostly because Landon Collins was good last season, but maybe not as good as we've seen him play previously. I think I'd probably give Micah Hyde. I'd probably give Micah Hyde the nod due to consistency, to be honest.
Fair.
I argue with that.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Try and pass on that, you dickheads.
I can't. No, it's a good team. We would definitely come into that with a run-heavy game plan.
Are we doing special teams as well?
No, it's defense. We're doing a whole show for special teams.
Oh god.
Oh Jesus.
You better get your guns and pass protectors sorted out, mate.
Who's your long snapper?
All right.
Who wants to go next?
I could take it because I don't want to end on mine because it's not the strongest probably in the room.
I'll end on mine then.
All right, cool.
I'm probably up there as well.
All right, so my number one corner is Marshawn Lattimore.
That's fine.
Yeah, no issue with him. Yeah. He was easy to set up. It's the other one that I'm going to have issues with. So I'll go to safeties next. We're going with two rookies from last year. We're going Jeremy Chin and Antoine Winfield Jr.
Wow, that's a big safety, Joe.
Are your corners the rest of your corners that not good that you?
And Jeremy Chin's a linebacker technically now.
You've just skipped them and gone straight.
He's a safety on the depth chart still.
Stan, we said this pre-production. They'll do whatever Slew says for them to do.
Yeah, I mean, Well, then Winfield could be the one high guy. I'm fine with that. But Jeremy Chin and Winfield, I think, can both do each other's job. So help you disguise coverages, which the second corner is probably going to need, and I think they can both help whoever does play in. So for that second corner, there's, by the way, Marcus Williams almost made it as a safety from the Saints.
The whiffy man.
I mean,
that was one time.
Since that one play, he's been really good.
Also, before that one play, he was really good.
He was having a fantastic
season. People remember him for one thing.
That is true. That is unfortunate because he is a very good safety. To be fair, to give him his due, was a funny meme, but he is a very good safety.
So this is where it comes with my issue with the other one, because he became a meme in one game. So there was one game where he got absolutely torched. And apart from that, he's been really good. And I think if I don't have to play him against number one receivers the whole time.
Oh God.
Why? I've just
is
got
it
very
who I think
limited.
it is?
It is. It's the guy that Stan hates because of one game. It's going to have to be Carlton Davis.
Ooh,
games, but...
damn.
Say again, Stan?
Wow.
It was multiple games, but sure.
It was not.
It was,
if you look,
it was one game against the Chiefs.
One game against the Chiefs where it's Tyreek 1-on-1 with no help. So, I mean, given those two other guys, I think we can probably shift some help over to him because I trust Marshall Lattimore. But what I'm hoping is that against number two receivers, he'll be a lot better. Given my other options were basically CJ Henderson, who played 8 games his rookie year, was a bit up or down. I like his potential, but I can't put him in. He wasn't bad, but I couldn't put him in based on that.
Yeah,
I mean, the other two guys were JC Horn or Caleb Farley that came even close.
Oh my god!
Because there was it's really not the best division in terms. I mean, there's Xavier Rhodes, but he's sort of past it at this point.
I mean, I'd put Jamel Dean. I'd put Jamel Dean over Carlton Davis personally.
No, I think I would have got kept with Carlton Davis. But I've got my nickel guy is Kenny Moore.
Yes, good. Thank you.
Kenny Moore's good.
Kenny
So
Moore's great.
I think Carlton Davis is the weak spot in my defense, so I'm going to have to double anyone he lines up against. The rest of the defense, I'm
just
pretty
like real life.
I'm pretty hyped about. I mean, you saw in the Super Bowl when he gets the help he needs, and the defensive coordinating's good. It's not like
he deserves.
give him
no help.
Get lined up against the quickest guy in football 1-on-1 without any help. See how you go, bud. It's like
he's 10 yards off, and Tyreek Hill still gets outside of him.
Yeah,
well,
Tyreek Hill is very fast.
Yeah, Stan, I'd like to say if you was 10, you could be 20 yards off Tyreek Hill, and I reckon he would beat you deep.
I'm not an NFL corner.
That's right. Yes. That's why you're not in my team. So
I don't want to be in your team if you're the head coach.
So it's Carlton Davis, Kenny Moore, Marshall Lattimore, Jeremy Chin, and Antoine Winfield Jr. as my back end.
It's a pretty good. I think you've kind of undersold yourself there, to be honest. I think you're more worried about the Carlton Davis thing, which
I'm very worried about the Carlton Davis thing. Look, can I go through who my options basically were?
Go ahead.
So the other starting in this league, other starting corners on the outside in the South, Patrick Robinson, Isaiah Oliver, Kendall Sheffield, AJ Terrell.
No.
Yeah.
AJ Terrell's all right.
Donta Jackson, I suppose, is all right.
He's decent. And to be fair, he's very underrated. It's because he hasn't been healthy for properly.
Rock Ya-Sin, Xavier Rhodes.
No.
Janoris Jenkins.
No.
Was
CJ
the temptation
Henderson,
not to go...
Trey Herndon. And then obviously I'm not touching anyone on the Texans because that's just a poverty franchise at the the So yeah, the other options were those two rookies I mentioned. I mean, I didn't have a whole lot of choice.
Rock Ya-Sin for the ridiculous name.
I wasn't tempted to go Rock Ya-Sin. I mean,
I would be tempted to stick in JC Horn.
Well, I can't put in someone that's never played the NFL. I feel that's cheating the game. So I don't think Carlton Davis is bad. I just feel weird putting him in something named Dream Team.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
But then again, he is in the Bucks have been called the Dream Team, so I'm sort of all right with it. Let's go with that.
Okay. So
that's enough.
Joe, do you want to go before me, or do you want to go last?
Do you want me to do heads or tails for who goes?
Why don't you go player for player?
No.
Yeah, we could go. Yeah.
No, that's too much effort.
I'm easy.
Right,
do a heads and tails, Matt. I'm heads.
So I'm going to write down either the word heads or tails.
What? That's so stupid. I've got a coin.
What do you choose?
A coin?
Yeah, but you could be biased. You slither through windows to get into your own house, Joe. I'm not letting you decide something of this importance.
Masonette issues. I'll go tails, actually.
Okay, Stan?
Well, he's clearly going heads.
We'll go heads then. I'll go for the side of the coin.
I'll go tails as well.
good decision because, as you can clearly see, I've written heads.
So does that mean Stan defers, or does he?
That means Stan can do whatever the hell he wants. Stan, do you want to go first or second?
Yeah, I want to go first.
Go for it.
Okay, cool.
We're going to get the ball and we're going to score.
Yeah.
Hit me, Stan.
I'm going to hit you very, very hard. So
Very
my number
good.
one, my number one corner is the man himself. One of the best corners in football, if not the best. It is
Kevin King.
I'm joking. Kevin King. No, it is Jalen Ramsey, outstanding cornerback for the Los Angeles Rams. Lockdown corner, leave him on an island. He gets the job done.
Fair.
You can see his Twitter feed. That's all the evidence you need.
Yep.
Then my number two corner on the other side of the field will be the recently acquired Kyle Fuller.
Yeah.
At cornerback two.
Okay, good.
Can't argue that. It would either be him or Ronald Darby, who just came over to Denver from the football team over in Washington.
So you're saying Darby is your nickel corner in this situation as well?
No.
He said earlier, Joe, if you were listening, he said Bryce Callahan.
I said Bryce Callahan because he's smaller.
Okay. Fair enough.
No, Joe. Bryce Callahan's more of a nickel corner. Darby's better on the outside. And he did have a very, very good season last year for the football team. And so my safeties, I've gone for 3 safeties, but one of them will end up coming in on like nickel and dime packages. So my free safety is my boy Buda Baker. Hits like a bus, and probably one of the best run defenders in football. Had a record-breaking season in terms of tackles last year. We know he can get it done versus the run game. And then on the other side, adjacent to him, is a former Cardinal, a guy who wore 32 before Buda Baker did. Tyrann Mathieu, the former LSU Tiger, draft pick from the Bruce Arians era in the 3rd round. He'll be playing strong, nickel corner, a bit of everywhere. We're going to move him all over the field. He'll play wherever I tell him to because he can do that. He can play as a linebacker. He can play as a safety. He can play a bit of corner. So we're going to do what we want with Tyrann Mathieu. And then on the bench, could bring him in on rushing downs. Could leave him in on passing downs instead of Bobby Wagner. We've got Jamal Adams. Not going to leave him in 2 high or 1 high packages because I don't trust him that much in pass coverage. But I love his speed, his range on the field, and his ability to tackle and just make plays. So he'll be coming in on certain packages. And then, as I mentioned earlier, slot corner Bryce Callahan from Denver.
Okay,
yeah,
that's pretty juicy. That's pretty tasty. I'm not going to lie. The West has always had such great defensive backs, to be honest.
The West just has great defensive players and all over this year. There's no position on this team where I think, hang on, they're a bit of a liability apart from the injury brothers because of their name.
Yeah,
that is true. It's a good team.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of anyone I would put over that, but I can't really think of any.
I've got a couple honourable mentions, really.
Go on then.
Like Bradley Chubb. Yeah, Bradley Chubb. Oh, sorry, that's for outside linebacker. So cornerback.
You paying Bradley Chubb at corner?
No. Cornerback. I could have had like Darius Williams from the Rams had a very, very good season last year. L'Jarius Sneed as well, perhaps as like a slot guy, but I'm quite happy with who I've got.
Fair enough. All right, I can't argue with that. Strong. That is very strong. But I'll tell you what's stronger. Oh wait,
your secondary? No.
Well, what are you going to say, Stan?
I was just going to say that to decide who has the best defense out of all 4 of us, I'll whip up a socials post for tomorrow. Get it out on our Instagram. Vote in the comments.
Yeah.
Settle it. Let the people talk.
It like men on social media.
Exactly. With a bunch of filters. Cool. Shall I go?
Go for it, Joe.
I'll say corners first. One of them might not surprise you.
Is it Jair Alexander?
Surprise. It is the man who never gets burnt deep, Kevin King, of course. There we go. No, I'm joking, obviously. It is Marlon Humphrey, an absolute lockdown corner, amazing tackler. It's got the peanut punch on him so he can force fumbles as well. Just an all-round great guy, one of the best defensive backs in the league. I love this man. He bloody owns he's got a however many $1 million extension, and he just lives in a camper with this dog.
I think that's a bit weird, but carry on.
Hey, he's just a pretty chill dude, to be honest. I love a bit of Marlon. So yeah, that's your lockdown corner right there. On the other side, we've got Denzel Ward.
Sorry,
It was Denzel Ward.
how you said Jair Alexander wrong?
Oh, that is a good point. I've literally completely forgotten about Jair.
To be fair, you could put Jair Alexander and then play Marlon Humphrey in the nickel.
Yeah, play Humphrey please.
I would rather have Denzel Ward in the nickel than Humphrey, to be honest. What?
If I speak,
you're mental. You're mental.
Fight me.
Big trouble.
It's my team. I can do what I want. But you do raise a good point. Jair Alexander, I did forget about, to be honest, and he does actually deserve to be on the team. So he will go above Denzel Ward
and Marlon Humphrey,
the corner slot. Now we'll play left and right side. We don't have to say one or two. It does. You don't have to be like that. Which leaves me with either Denzel Ward, Joe Hayden, or Marcus Peters to fill in that nickel corner slot, depending. I would probably favour Denzel Ward over the other two. But Marcus
why didn't you pick an actual nickel corner in Mike Hilton?
Why would I do that?
Because he was brilliant last season, and he's played nickel corner.
Best player available, mate. Mike Hilton was good.
He's a nickelback.
He's on the list, but he's at the bottom of the fucking depth chart, mate. So just it's my bloody team, Stan, not yours.
Joe's going with 3 outside corners. On one side, he's just going to have 2 of them in the same space.
I'm disgusted.
Okay, cool. Any more comments on that before I move on? So
yeah, I'm sort of a little bit.
Marlon Humphrey.
It's not a point I haven't previously raised.
Humphrey, Jair Alexander, Denzel Ward, beautiful. And then we move on. So this is where it gets a bit juicy, really, with the safety positions.
Now it gets juicy. You forgot Jair Alexander.
There are 2 phenomenal free safeties, possibly some of the best free safeties in the league in the North, in the NFC and AFC North, in Minkah Fitzpatrick and Eddie Jackson. So this is where it does get a bit tasty. I'm actually going to play one of them at strong safety because I think the gap in the talent between free safety and strong safety over here is just too much. I mean, if I had to pick a pure strong safety, it would probably be Adrian Amos, I imagine.
Johnson.
Maybe, but Adrian Amos, I think, is
ridiculous this year. He's so good.
Amos is, in my opinion, better than John Johnson. But that doesn't matter because I'm not playing either of them. I'm going to stick Eddie Jackson at strong safety, just because I think
a joke to you.
Just because, well, Eddie Jackson can also tackle as well. It's not.
Yeah, those two in a 2 high would be great. To be
would
fair.
be ridiculous. And also, yeah, I think Fitzpatrick just fits that free safety position a bit more, whereas Eddie Jackson could be a bit more versatile and play strong safety if he wanted to.
He's a pure, Eddie Jackson's a pure free safety.
I mean, yeah, but they're both free safeties, but I think Eddie Jackson would adapt to playing strong safety better than Minkah Fitzpatrick would. Is what I'm saying.
Strong.
Yeah. Would you not agree?
Yeah, Amos at strong. Yeah, I wouldn't play Minkah at strong. No, not at all.
Yeah, but I'm not playing. Amos would be on the depth chart in this situation. I'd rather have Eddie Jackson and Minkah Fitzpatrick on the field than Adrian Amos.
I'm guessing you're looking to play like a Tampa 2 style of defense then, with like 2 high safeties.
Yeah. Yes.
Sound more convincing.
To be honest, I can just, Minkah can sort of roam around.
Quarters would be wasted on this defense.
And you can stick Eddie Jackson just in a 1 high.
So didn't Eddie Jackson basically ball out with Vic Fangio in that quarters defense for high low?
They played 1 high 3 cover 3. That was their base.
They played a lot of cover 4.
It was predominantly cover 3. That was literally why Kyle Fuller had so many picks, is because he was playing incredibly aggressive on the outside, because he knew that Eddie Jackson was in the middle third.
Watch the tape, guys.
Watch the goddamn tape.
That's the whole reason why cover 3 you get so many interceptions.
Eddie Jackson.
Cover 4 just becomes man coverage after 10 yards anyway.
Okay. Either way, before we enrage Stan anymore, so that's my defensive back lineup: Marlon Humphrey, Jair Alexander, Denzel Ward, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and Eddie Jackson.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty good.
It's not bad.
I like it.
Not terrible.
Yeah, I don't see many weaknesses there. Now it's up to the audience to decide, I guess.
Now it is up to the audience. We will be, as Staniel rightly pointed out, we'll be putting these on our socials so that you guys can drop a comment, tell us where we went wrong or right, not enough Dolphins, too many Ravens, whatever you want to say. Let us know what you think about these teams. I mean, just before we sign off, I do think they're 4 pretty strong ones. I would lean towards probably Stans, in my opinion, as being the strongest. Personally.
Possibly.
But it's passing league.
For the big names.
Does have big
and
names.
the talent and just being better players in general. But yeah, big names.
All right,
too.
easy there.
I mean, this is just like Pro Bowl voting, to be honest. It's just, I see a name I recognize, I vote.
That's only because you don't do your research.
Oh, accusations are flying around here.
That's so rude.
You did it on your Miro. You did it on your Miro workboard at lunch.
I
To
literally.
be fair, that was a tidy Miro workboard.
That was quite cool.
Wait, I did actually use my.
Oh, he's bringing it up now, isn't he?
Right, just wrap it up. We're having a no Miro stream, so none of wrap it up. That
Can we have a Miro for a year as well?
no, Joe would kill us.
Joe, no Miro, please. Right, those of you watching on the live stream, get it off the screen, Joe. Nobody wants to see that. Get it off.
I'm banning it from the stream.
Right.
Okay. Right.
Well, thank you guys at home so much for watching along with us or listening to us ramble on for over an hour about imaginary teams that we put together in the NFL. Some pretty strong rosters there. As we said earlier, we will be putting those on our socials, which on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook is at the Dropback. There you go. Slew's got his finger on the pulse. He's putting them across the bottom of the screen there. And do make sure to check out our website, thedropback.com, for all of our articles and other random stuff that we'll be getting up to. But yeah, once again, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for the guys at Britballing for having us on again. We will see you next week. So from me and all of the boys here, take care, and we will see you next Thursday.
Peace.
Laters.